Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Boomersplaining the Interwebs, the only show that is plagued by endless technical difficulties that entirely exist because the user, me, is absolutely terrible at all of this. Here's the problem. Let me explain the situation. I am streaming from a very gracious host's house here in the heart of Texas, so I don't have to deal with horrific hotel internet or any of that nonsense. So we are here live. Thank you very much to my good friend who is hosting me with his very fast interwebs. What happened is that I have been using just my live stream channel for the panels because I wasn't always sure if I would have time to set up before the events. So I was using the default live stream settings. Now, Streamlabs has been broadcasting in 720p without my knowledge. At home, it's set up for 1080, and that is supposed to transfer to this Streamlabs. It transfers all the other settings, just not the 1080. Okay, which is probably good because of how shady the internet was at the convention center. However, the planned streams are all set up for 1080p, and so I was trying to upload 720p stream to a 1080p stream reception on YouTube. Very, very highly technical language here. I don't expect you peons out in YouTube land to understand it. It's very sophisticated. I'm just kidding. So long story short, I screwed it up very badly. So that being said, okay. So that being said, we are live. Everything's good. I did get the super chats from the other stream, and I will be reading through those as well. What I was saying that none of you could actually hear beforehand, and I didn't realize, was that I do thank you very much for your participation with me over the weekend. I know I wasn't able to read all of the chats that came in during the panels. The reality of trying to do a live stream in front of a live audience who's not simultaneously watching the live stream, they're just watching me, made everything very, very awkward with reading the super chats. But we will be reading all of them tonight, just like normal. And just like normal, we have, courtesy of my wonderful host, some monkey shoulder. Very excited to try this scotch. I've heard very good things about it. Oh, it smells delicious. So bear with me for 1 second as I pour one out for Shane's chair. Shane's chair has done a remarkable service to this world. It really went too soon. It didn't deserve this. It didn't deserve this. The weight that it carried was astronomical. The sadness that it endured is unimaginable. And I do want to have one for Shane's chair. You're going to carry that weight, kid. You're going to carry that weight. All right. Thank you all for joining me. We will actually be playing a tribute to Shane's chair later in the show. But I've got some orders of business to attend before we do that. And unfortunately, I'm going to open up with the darkest and saddest part of the show. So hopefully, after we get past that, we can kind of lighten the mood. But I do have something very personally important to me that I want to request from you guys. And I really hope it doesn't make anybody too upset because I don't censor speech. Absolutely not. But there is something that I'm going to have to ask you guys to participate with me in. And I hope you'll understand when I explain the situation. First, before we do the depressing stuff, let me nab some of these chats and address them. These are, again, starting from the last stream. Rick Rekieta says, Ron Toye is clearly insane. He has to be. Yeah, I think so. It kind of seems that way. Mythos Irving says, Nick, you petulant little jerk. Another stream, you spoil us. Yeah, I have been streaming a lot. It's kind of hectic, but it's a lot of fun. Jay Moore says, hey, sweet cheeks. Going on a cruise for a week, no Wi-Fi. Hypothetically, would a big business like Sony retool Funimation over crap like this pumpkin? Yes. Yes. They very well could. They very well could, especially if the mismanagement of Funimation were to impact Sony America's relationship with Japanese anime production studios. That they could certainly retool it. They could certainly let go of management. They could let go of strangleholds on their process, like Chris Sabat's studio that they contract with on Dragon Ball. They could do a lot of things if they found out that it was a problem for their business. And if there are a bunch of shrieky voice actors that they think may have damaged their brand, they will get rid of them. I mean, this is corporate America, not small business America anymore. Next question is from Inkpenification that says, do you actually know any lawyers from Ontario? Because Anime North is in Canada. Do I know any lawyers from Ontario? I don't know. I don't know if I know any, like off the top of my head, I can't think of any. But I don't think I need to worry about Anime North. Their social media person graciously retracted his statement and clarified. I don't know if he retracted it so much as he clarified that he wasn't trying to imply that I was racist, merely that a particular act was racist in historical context. And I'm fine with that clarification, and I accept it 100%. Scary Things Are Scary says, Law Daddy, take my money. I am your slave. Thank you. Buccaneers Den says, Dear Mr. Fake YouTube Lawyer, I'm reporting you and chat to the bullylist.com for bullying Shane's chair. Also Leighton Gate. No, we did not bully. I stood up for that chair when Shane wouldn't. Except when he went to get soy milk. Craig Litton says, please check out what is going on with the Sword and Scale podcast. I sent you a message on Facebook and via email about it, another SJW hate mob. I will look into it. You're not the only person to send me a message on it. When I get home, I'll have to check it out. Solo Beverly says, when the respective parties receive their papers, would you be allowed to tell us who gets them? Or is there some delay that you'd have to wait for? Look, I can't tell you who has gotten papers or who will get papers unless I'm given that information by someone who either receives papers or sends papers or hears about it. So it really depends on what information is fed back to me. And once I have that information, and I will be happy to tell you. But, other than that, we won't know. We won't know. Like I said, I'm going off of what little birds whisper in my ears. And what little birds have whispered is that things might get very interesting very, very soon. Next, Anime Mun says, another lead I think we should look into is any connections between Funimation, a group called Women in Animation, as well as Elation Studio. Okay. Siren Jag says, are we about to get the infamous Rackets on the Crapper stream? No. That's not going to happen. Did Nick inhale too much barbecue brisket and wash it down with more brisket? That did happen. Will we see 2 sets of Russell Greer lips? Tune in at 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m. after the clock jumps. Okay. I just wanted to get the second stream up and running as fast as possible. So that's what happened there. I do apologize for that. Bray says, Nick, if you ever want some streaming tips, I could help you set up a good setup so you don't get boomered so much. Oh, it's not the setup so much as just the poor execution. And also because I'm on the road. Being on the road, I do not like streaming from my laptop. I don't like, at home I have several monitors and they help me organize things. Patrick Marin says, why can't you love Shane's chair, Nick? Why? I do love Shane's chair. I just wish Shane loved his chair. Dennis said, question for you, Nick. If a business or convention is a sole proprietorship, who is legally responsible for the media manager's defamation? Well, if they're employing a media manager, if it's a sole proprietorship, then it would be the sole proprietor. That's who would typically be. Sole proprietorships don't have a corporate layer of protection. So if a media manager is acting as agent for the sole proprietorship, then the media manager could be individually liable, and then the sole proprietor would be liable as well, potentially. Mythos Irving says, I'm not sending you the super chats again. You better read them, you petulant little jerk. Lol. No. I believe we got all of them from the other stream. Streamlabs did capture all of those. Scary Things Are Scary says, Supreme Leader, you must not keep your cult waiting. Puncture the Soye sperm sac to make an offering to our law god Rekieta. Praise to the law fist. Now, on the nature of cults and cult followings, I have been accused of being in control of all of you fine people and of everybody who ever followed me on Twitter or anything like that. I apparently am directing mobs of people here and there. So let me again say, please do not go bother anybody or harass anyone or otherwise annoy them or anything like that. I don't know how else to say it, so I'll just say it that way. But, you know, I'm not in control of anybody. Someone actually told me today, a very smart little cookie, told me that I need to stop talking like I have any idea what's going on in the lawsuit, because if I keep saying things about what might happen, you guys will create an expectation in your minds that what I say will definitely happen and definitely happen in the way I say it. No matter how many times I say I'm speculating and I don't know, that it's definitely going to happen. And when it doesn't happen that way, because they know better, when it doesn't happen that way, that you will literally murder people. That's what I'm told. So please let me be very clear. I don't want anybody murdered at all. So if the lawsuit doesn't go in the way that I say exactly, please don't kill anyone, because apparently that's what you all are just waiting to do, is flat out murder people, which makes me feel not safe at all. And I'm not kidding. Someone unironically sent me that direct message today. They've been trying to get me to stop lying for the past couple weeks, because apparently my lies will drive people to murder. So take that for what you will. Wink, wink, wink. I don't know which one is the wink that says do the opposite. I don't know. All right. This is a good place to take a break and get a little depressing. This is a good place to take a break and get a little depressing. I do apologize in advance for this. What is even happening here? There's all sorts of violence happening in this room. Okay. All right, guys. I have to ask very politely to all of you, and I mean this with 100% sincerity. I do not want to do the Daddy No meme anymore. And I'm going to tell you why. One little backstory. The Daddy No meme is a reference to Tonka and some trauma from his past, some alleged trauma from his past. And when I first said the meme, I had no idea. I had no idea what it was about. I think that's what made it funny. So, the reason, though, that I'm retiring the meme has nothing to do with Tonka. Although, knowing the history, it is a little tasteless. It is a little tasteless, but I'm okay with being tasteless. No, my reasons are much, much different. Much, much different. There's a case out there, and I may, depending on how much whiskey I want to consume in one night, I may cover this case. It has come back to the news, but it's from, I believe, 2017. Okay. And the case is a guy named Chris Wyatt. And it's actually really, really hard for me to talk about. Someone sent me the case and I was looking into it. I was looking into the case, and they apologized when they sent it to me, and I apologize for informing you guys about it. Okay, but it's about a man who killed his pregnant wife and his two daughters. And the just a second. The last words of his 4-year-old were "Daddy, no," before he killed her. So, as a dad of a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old, I can't do that meme. I just can't. I'm sorry. So, yeah. So I would ask very politely that no one ask me to do that in a super chat. All right. Again, I'm not in charge of anyone's speech. I don't censor people, but I hope you partner with me on that. So, again, nothing to do with the funny banter of the internet. Everything to do with something very, very serious and horrible. And I'm debating doing that case just because stop it.
Sorry.
Just because the beginning of that case, which I've just started looking into, is very, very interesting. How this guy tried to make he tried to cover up his crime and convince the police that his wife left him. That part of the case is really, really interesting. The psychology of it is really, really interesting. It's just really dark. So I'm debating going over it, but that's where I'm coming from. So there you guys go. I will, if you do super chat it, I will not be doing it in the meme style. Of course, I do read all the chats, and that's just a policy. But just know that my heart will not be in it at all. So thanks for that. Can we get back to something a little lighter than that, please? Child murder is not high on my list of things to talk about. Not high at all. Okay. Whew. That's a tough one. Let me talk about, let me do a couple more super chats, and then we're going to go into talking about the Funimation and Rooster Teeth's strategic location here in Texas, and what it means for their production and all of that stuff. So let's go let's go through the super chats and start smiling again. All right. Horatius Cockleys says, "Whiskey for the whiskey lawyer, guns for the gun throne." There you go. I agree 100%. James Burnett says, "Hi, Nick. Thanks for your coverage of the battlefields of the culture war. What is Rooster Teeth's culpability? How did they become a possible target?" I did do a live stream on this. I probably need to put out a 15-minute video about Rooster Teeth that'll get a little bit broader support or broader viewership. But basically, the long and short of Rooster Teeth is that, one, they made a statement when they didn't have to. That alone put them on the radar. It doesn't put them in the lawsuit. And they may not be a first-round target of this lawsuit. Let me be very clear. In Texas, and we're going to talk about this tonight when we go through defenses, but there is something called the Texas Civil Participation Act. It does protect speech. All right. It's an anti-slap provision. If you win on Texas Civil Participation Act motions, you win. I have a feeling that many of the defendants are relying on this. That is a terrible, terrible plan. If they happen to see this, that is a terrible plan, and they should not rely on their sole defense being a pretrial motion. Because I think if you've got competent attorneys, you overcome TCPA, and if you overcome it and that's your only defense, then you're in really a world of hurt. But that means that the attorneys for the plaintiff, in this case Vic, the attorneys for the plaintiff have to very carefully craft their complaints to get past the TCPA, right? That's what they have to do. We're going to talk about how that works at the end, but because they have to do that, Rooster Teeth You got to knock it off.
No, my nose is just.
Yeah. Because of that, they have to be very careful when going after Rooster Teeth and some of the other sort of periphery participants. So Rooster Teeth's initial statement put them on the radar. What might pull them into the lawsuit are the subsequent statements by voice actors and decision makers that are under their employ. Jen Brown, I hear, has had hiring and firing authority, or at least apparent authority to make casting decisions. And if that's true, her statements could be enough under Texas vice principal doctrine to bring Rooster Teeth into a lawsuit just based on what she said. Really, Rooster Teeth and Funimation might also be brought in on negligent supervision, which is a claim in which you say that they had a duty to supervise their employees and to prevent them from causing further harm to the plaintiff. Does not appear to have occurred. Rooster Teeth and Funimation do not appear to have, and maybe they did behind the scenes, we don't know and won't know until discovery, but they do not appear to have communicated with their voice actors and said, you guys need to stop disparaging one of our other employees or a former employee. So those are the ways that Rooster Teeth could be brought into this lawsuit and become a possible target. But I will probably do a full 15-minute video on that at some point. I haven't really focused hard on Rooster Teeth, and it might be time now. DLC Forces says, take my money, buy a watch because you need to be on time. Well, I actually was on time, except for screwing up royally. Cerno says, I always hear reality as reality, as in Monica Rial. Lol. Thank you. Gas and Heap says, I see a lot of parallels between the Vic allegations and the Michael Jackson allegations. What are your opinions on the Michael Jackson case? Do you think he did it? I don't know. I don't know if he did it. My opinion is I'm heavily influenced by Razorfist videos on it because Razorfist better articulates many of my very preliminary thoughts, but I haven't looked into it to formulate enough of my own opinion. So right now, let's just say I have my doubts. Do I think Michael was weird? Yes. Do I think children around him were entirely safe? No. Do I think he was molesting those children? I don't currently think so. But again, I could be wrong on that, and I don't know enough about it. I do want to watch the new documentaries that came out, but it's pretty interesting that they can go after a corpse like that. Spanish Dexter says, always entertaining, Nick. Oh, that poor chair. Thank you. Palix Tobin says, press F for Shane's chair. Maria Ruiz says, pouring one for Shane's chair. Also, happy birthday, Lady Rackets. I believe she heard that. She is somewhere close by, but I'll tell her when she comes back in. Andrew War Snowboard says, God bless you for that picture of Shane's chair. Grandma died today and I needed that laugh. Oh, buddy, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry to hear that. Here's to your grandma. Peace. Peace. Moist John says, black guy pouring out bottle dot gift for Shane's chair. Goru says, stop being a boomer or I will report you to Office of Lawyers Professional Responsibility. Sweet cheeks. Thank you. I'll add it to the list. Oh, I don't know if I mentioned this. Now, some of you know this. But on what day did we leave? Friday? Thursday. On Thursday, I got the mail. On Thursday, and in the mail was a envelope about this big. I said an envelope. I said an envelope. Oh, someone said happy birthday. Oh, yeah. She says thank you. I got an envelope. And peek on, I guess. We're just in the corner, so.
This tiny corner.
This is the birthday girl. Thank you.
Love you.
Now go away.
You go away.
I love you.
Do they want to see my thing?
If you want to show them your thing. Do you want to see her birthday present? Hold on, just 1 second, guys. Let's do it this way. Here you go. Now it's a bigger frame.
I gotta be careful.
Just for a second.
How I do that.
Yeah. So this is Lady Rackets' birthday present. She got a. Whoa, careful! YouTube's gonna ban me. She got a new tattoo. So there you go. I think it looks great.
Isn't it pretty?
Yeah.
I was talking to them, not you.
Well, you're looking at me. Okay, kiss me and get out of here. Go, 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 go.
Me too.
Oh, rip. Oh, there you go. There you go. All right, so that is Lady Raggett. Sorry about that, but a worthy distraction, I would say. Okay, so where I left off on Thursday in the mail, I got the envelope, which is from the Office of the Lawyer's Professional Responsibility Board. It was great. It was great. It's the second one I've gotten now since starting my channel. Second one I've gotten ever. I guess I should be clear before someone tries to jump on that. That's the second one I've gotten ever. I will be reading it live when I get home. I will show you exactly how much of an unethical monster I am. And I only expect those to just pour in over the next month or so because of some salty little babies out on the internet who want to ruin a person's career but then can't take a little bit of sweet cheeking right back. So that is a preview of what's to come this week. That is a preview of what's to come this week. Okay, let's do 5 more and then we're going to start talking about 5 more chats, and then we'll start talking about these places being located in Texas. Cagus Vagnorius. I thought it was Vainglorious. Goodness. Cagus Vagnorius says, glad to catch 2 of your streams in a row. Pulled an all-nighter. Worth it. Donated on both of the streams because you're worth it. Oh, thank you so much. I really do appreciate that. Valhalla 4413 says, this is for Shane's chair. Once you hit rock bottom, the place to go is up. Hopefully it's on the long road to recovery. I really, really hope so. Anime Mun says, hey Nick, wanted to suggest something to keep an eye out for in Discovery. Any connections between Funimation and a group called Women in Animation, which is a feminist think tank looking to force 50-50 male-female representation by 2025. Motive, perhaps? Possibly. I have no idea. Cerno says, more like Chris Sabat-Age. Age? Sabotage! Oh! Well, it's hyphenated, and I thought it was going Japanese, which would be age, which is a food of some sort, like kara-age. You're flawed. Mythos Irving says, chair live matter. Another nobody. Wait, so that was one, two. I think this is the last one. Another nobody says, Shane's fart ruined that chair. Whew. Gross. Oh, one more. Mithrin Emrys says, Shane did love his chair, hence the state it is in. Objectophilia is a thing after all. There you go. Okay. Let's talk. And I hope you guys don't mind me keeping the memorial up for Shane's chair. It's a very important and sad thing. Let me briefly do one more housekeeping thing. I am waiting for a green light on Todd Habercorn's GoFundMe. So I had mentioned that it was going to come out on Friday, and I believed it was. However, I got a hold on that. And I, of course, respect the wishes of anybody who says, you know what, let's hold off for just a minute. So if he chooses to go forward with it and gives me the green light, I will certainly go ahead and put it up right away. It's not my call, right? I'm not going to do a GoFundMe if someone doesn't want me to. And if they do want me to, I'm happy to help out in that way. So I will update that when I get final news on it, but that's the situation right now. I know many of you are very excited to contribute to that. And ooh, I'm lit. I'm very lit. Thank you. Yeah, like lit. What up? I know many of you are anxious to contribute to that. And I didn't say Todd Howard, did I? Todd Habercorn. Did I say Todd Howard? I don't think so. That's a mean prank, y'all. I'm getting old. But like I said, as soon as I get information on the final disposition of that, I will let you know. Okay? I know many of you are anxious to contribute to that. And, like I said, all I can do is keep you posted. Okay. On to Rooster Teeth. On to Funimation. Do you guys know what Texas has or what Texas doesn't have that LA does have? Does anybody want to guess what a very red state doesn't have that a very, very progressive blue state does have? I'll wait for just a second. Pour a little more whiskey. You know what, Clay? I'm gonna unions, right? There's some big unions out in California, and pretty much any entertainment industry has those unions attached. Be it the Screen Actors Guild, or in this case, I actually have the name of the union that anime voice actors are part of. Give me just a second, and I will tell you. Oh, seriously, come on. The Global Voice Acting Academy has a rate guide, has the union rates. So I'm wondering if this is actually through. I don't know if this is the official union or if they just have the union rates listed here, but yeah, it might be Screen Actors Guild. Don't hold me to it. It's one of those. I got to do a bigger dive on this. I just started looking into it today, but it's unions, right? Unions carry with it collective bargaining, which I think is absolute trash. But people like the cadre of very liberal voice actors who repost communist stuff tend to love collective bargaining agreements. Texas doesn't have them. So very interesting to see this group of accusers who is happily reposting communist stuff, like literal communism, not like pretend communism, reposting communist stuff, touting these socialism adjacent ideas like neo-feminism and stuff like that. Yet they're all working for what many of them should consider to be substandard wages. Because these production houses that they're protecting just moved to Texas to avoid paying them what they would have to pay them in LA. Now, I've done a little bit of digging on this, but I'm looking for some more confirmation. I hear that Funimation has recently boosted the rates that they pay to be a little bit more competitive with the union rates out in California. And with the non-union rates out in California. However, there are other benefits to the union that are not present in Texas. Some of those are residuals. So just so you guys are aware, because I think people don't understand this, when someone like Vic Mignogna does a Broly movie and it does fantastic at the box office, they're not pulling in residuals based on that movie earning millions and millions of dollars more than it costs to produce. The margin on the Broly movie is huge because they really don't have to pay much to the voice actors. They're really paying for rights from Dragon Ball, which the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie rights are probably attached to the overall rights that they own or are leasing from Toei or whatever. So the voice actors are not pulling in residual income or royalty income from that, as far as I can tell. They literally get an hourly rate. And guys, their hourly rate is like less than half of mine. And I'm in the middle of nowhere, Minnesota, right? Like, that's how these guys, that's how these people who are able to get hundreds of thousands of people to subscribe to Funimation and Rooster Teeth, they're getting paid less than half of my hourly rate for their hourly rate. And there's no minimum work in Texas. Now, in California, let's say even though the times are comparable, right? Like, let's say the hourly rate did get a boost in the past couple years to be comparable in Texas. In California, there's a minimum studio time of 2 hours. So even if you come in to shoot one scene that only takes, 20 minutes or something like that, you get paid for a minimum of 2 hours of time. This is pretty important in any sort of contract job to have minimums, because if you're going in for a 10-minute, 20-minute gig, even if you get paid for an hour, you've got travel time. In a place like LA, travel's expensive and slow and time consuming. Even in a place like Dallas or Houston or Austin, San Antonio, if you're at the wrong time of day, I mean, it could take you an hour to 2 hours to get across town. So having those minimums build in a buffer of time, and they're a real benefit for the voice actors. Texas doesn't have a minimum 2-hour rule. I pointed out earlier in my stream at the panel that these guys don't have individually negotiated contracts for each of their productions, right? So Vic Mignogna doesn't have a Broly contract, as far as I know. I'm operating on information and belief, okay? So if it comes out in Discovery that it's different, I will certainly correct that. But as far as I know, Vic Mignogna's contract is literally, he is a 1099 contractor. They will basically, it's like a general service agreement that you might get as a software support guy. We will call you when we need you to come in and do studio time, or when we need you to submit a recording, and then we will compensate you this agreed upon rate based upon the amount of time you spent. That's it. That's the extent of his contracts. So he doesn't have that union protection. He doesn't have the guaranteed minimums. The only thing he has is whatever rate that they pay. And it's a little bit lower than you'd probably expect for someone who earns these studios so much money and builds so much goodwill amongst the fan base. So there you go. Like, just think, even if someone like Vic Mignogna is guaranteeing 20,000 subscribers to Funimation, which I think is probably a decent estimate of what he's worth, or maybe even not as much. He's bringing in way more money than they're paying out. That's why these voice actors have to go to conventions, and why it's so dreadfully important for them to be able to go to conventions, for them to be able to interact with fans, and for them to make probably the overwhelming majority of their money by that individual fan interaction. That's a crucial piece of their income, and that's why lawsuits like this are so very important for protecting their reputation and overcoming false accusations. Okay. So the main thing I wanted to get out of today is the very real point that these companies, very progressive, very supportive of the rights of people, they're in Texas for a reason. Why many companies come to Texas. You've got income tax breaks, and more importantly, unions, GTFO. GTFO, Texas doesn't care about your collective bargaining agreements. They don't care about your problems. The employers set the rates. So there you go. There's that bit. I hope that helps explain it. I'm going to try and gather some more info on this from my various sources over the next couple days, and maybe put together something a little more concise. But as I'm looking through this and coming to these realizations, I want to bring stuff to you as it's developing. It's the type of stuff that everything goes. In this case, when we're talking about making false statements, a lot is going to go to the credibility of these companies. Because even if Vic is not successful against some of these people in court, it's about building the appropriate credibility for Vic and attacking the credibility of the people who accused him. Whether or not either one prevails in court, there's a secondary battle that will happen, and that's in the social space. I'm not going to say the social media space, because I think Twitter exaggerates everything. YouTube exaggerates everything just by the nature of concentrating audiences in small places. We get distorted narratives about things. That's fine. That's not a problem. But in the real world, where you're getting production work, where you're out there networking with people and professionals, when you're trying to get invited to cons, it's really important to have a secondary culture battle going concurrent with the legal battle and winning that cultural battle. Right now, I would say that Vic has a large stock of credibility higher than Funimation, who accidentally due to a bug disabled their unsubscribe button, and then due to some other glitch accidentally removed Vic Mignogna from the iTunes listing, and then accidentally re-added Vic Mignogna to the iTunes listing, but it's not the actual link to Vic Mignogna's other credits. It's just a separate Vic Mignogna that was created specifically for that iTunes listing. Hey, Funimation. I'm going to assume that was the temporary, oh my God, we have to fix this right now fix. I'm going to assume that. I hope it changes soon, because I doubt that Beard, Harris, Bullock, and Hughes will have that forgiving assumption that I'm giving. But that's just me. That's just me on that one. But I think they know that they're losing subscribers and that their fan credibility is plummeting right now. Whereas Vic's is growing because he has wisely stayed off of social media. I think Vic's peers, their credibility is dropping dramatically. Tweet after tweet after tweet, day after day after day. Their credibility goes in the tank. To their credit, they have recently quieted down. Like I said, I think maybe it got a little more real for them over the past couple days. Remember, once you start getting letters from law offices, that's a rocket countdown. That's countdown to take off. And so I think that what's up? Oh. Didn't say the magic word. So that's countdown to take off. T-minus days. T-minus days. And maybe that was enough to get them to be quiet. Hopefully, for their sake, it was enough for them to finally realize they need to lawyer up. I don't know how many people have come to me and have criticized me for saying that they don't have lawyers. Now, of course, I don't know that they don't have lawyers, but I have a pretty good idea that they, at least at the time I said it, didn't have lawyers. I think some of them may still not have lawyers. Maybe all of them. I don't know. I know Monica Rial very early on said that she was sending tweets to her attorney and to law enforcement. No one acts like that who's actually interacting with and paying an attorney. Nobody. Terrible, terrible moves all around. And if she was, fire that guy or start listening to him. Whatever is the appropriate response there. Or girl, guy or girl. I'm not discriminating here. We interviewed some fantastic female lawyers. I know they're out there. All the females I went to law school with, I would take pause before going into a courtroom with any of them. I mentioned the Amazons. Yeah. But I know the Amazons are hardcore, but I'm saying my female colleagues that are in my more immediate network, I know that they're very capable. They're very thorough, and they don't back down from fights. It's something about lawyers, or at least ones who litigate. They're not intimidated. That's one funny thing I want to kind of briefly touch on. Somebody sent me Sony's lead counsel today, right? Like, as if Sony's lead counsel is something special. Sony, actually, I don't know if that was the appropriate lead counsel, because it was Sony LLC, not Sony of America, but maybe it's the same legal team. I don't know their corporate structure well enough, but even if it's this guy, he's a 20-year attorney, probably very competent. Here's the thing. Like, even if it were me going against a 20-year attorney, which I've done. I've been against 30-year attorneys and stomped them into the dirt. It doesn't matter. It matters the quality of your case. Now, good attorneys can take marginal cases and turn them good or bad. Experienced attorneys might know some shortcuts, but it's about the diligence and hard work of whatever attorney that you have. So having a 20-year corporate attorney, that means literally nothing. And I can tell you that a firm like Beard, Harris, Bullock & Hughes, if I'm not intimidated by a 20 or 30-year veteran attorney, they're certainly not, because they are 20 and 30-year veteran attorneys. So it's very, very silly for people to be like, oh, Sony's high-paid legal team. These are private litigators. They're not in-house counsel. They get paid based on their results. In-house counsel gets paid on a yearly salary, typically. It's a whole different world. It's a whole different world. So to the person who sent me the Sony's lawyer to show me how much they weren't playing around, first of all, do I get to do my cover song now?
Yes, please.
Sony doesn't know. Sony doesn't know. Sony doesn't know. Sony doesn't know. If you think Sony knows about this lawsuit, I'm not so sure they do. I'm not so sure they do. Something tells me that Sony might not even be aware of what's going on right now, and that Funimation and all these voice actors might have something. They think Sony's gonna white knight and ride in and save the day.
Tell Sony.
I'm pretty sure Sony doesn't know. Sony doesn't know. But we'll wait and see. Maybe they do. Maybe they do. And the scary thing for Funimation, if Sony knows, why are they acting like they don't? That's a real question they may want to answer. Guys, there's very little more satisfying to me than finding a lawsuit that is just full of memes and comedy. Full of memes and comedy. And this one, and it's entirely based on the lunacy of at least one of the parties, right? Like that's how this happens. And so far, we've got so many people on one side of this that are making misstep after misstep. And I can't get over it. I can't get over it. I love the music note. Yeah, don't tell. So there you go. Let me hit a couple super chats here, and then we're going to do a tribute to Shane's chair, and then we're going to move on to potential defenses, okay? Mythos Irving says, yes, groom me, Nick. Consider yourself groomed. Devil Trigger DMC says, Rekieta stream? Jackpot. Oh, yeah. And believe me, it's Sunday now. We will be streaming, I believe, Monday through Friday of this week, unless something weird happens. But so strap in every night, my friends. We've got lots to talk about. And we've got stuff outside of the Vic case to talk about. Very big things happening in the world. So we'll not just be streaming Vic stuff. So please tune in for that stuff as well. Verthica Frost Scale says, is it possible that folks that have made false accusations of rape to get jail time themselves? Please correct me should that be the wrong idea. It's very, very unlikely. Now, maybe it should be that way. Some people would say that a false accusation of rape should get jail time. I'm not entirely of that camp. I would say that false criminal accusations of rape, where if you fabricate evidence and take it to the police to try and get someone arrested and convicted, I think that should carry jail time. I really do. Same with false accusations of anything. I do think that should be the case. This, of course, is all civil. Here's the funniest part in all of this, because people like Ron Kickelman and Monica Rial and Jamie Markey seem to be relying on this weird idea that they're going to have a bunch of people come into the courtroom and make various allegations. I was talking to someone today and they're like, the screenshots I've seen are very strong evidence against Vic, blah, 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 blah. Those allegations aren't going to touch a courtroom. I guess it's very slightly possible that a very select few allegations could come into a courtroom. The overwhelming majority will never see the courtroom in this case, because this case is not about 35 women's allegations against Vic Mignogna. This case will be very obviously crafted to be narrowly focused on specific statements of defamation made by specific parties, and whether those specific statements are true. So Jamie Markey says that Vic Mignogna tugged her hair and like licked her eardrum or whatever it is that he says. That guys, I'm gonna have a cameo from Ron Soye in just a minute. But that statement is going to be under scrutiny, not 25 other women's testimonies about Vic Mignogna. Those testimonies are irrelevant. They're irrelevant to any of this because they're about other incidents that aren't being challenged, because those statements don't carry any weight anyways. They're not the statements that impacted his career, as far as we know. Now, on Discovery, we could, of course, find out there are more statements, and those statements may be individually challenged. Okay? So, but no, it's very unlikely that they get jail time for anything. They would have to go through a long, complicated process of contempt of court to be subject to jail time. But real quick, I want to invite my special guest, Ron Toye, onto the stream. Thank you, Ron. You are so full of soy. And it has been a genuine pleasure interacting with you over the past 2 weeks. That was wonderful. Thank you. Horatius Cockley says, please no murder. Mythos Irving, yeah, please no murder. Mythos Irving says, really, murder is bad? Okay, oh, esteemed cult leader. Well, I mean, it's bad outside of the ritual murder. The ritual murder we have excuses for, right? Soon Be Soon says, Nick, I want to become a prosecutor, but I still have a soul. Is that a deal breaker? Yes. Stray away from the light. Stray away from the darkness. See, prosecutors are so wily that they confuse light with darkness in my own brain. You want me to drink it? No way. I can't drink that. My beard will fall off and I'll start apologizing for everything immediately. Gimme Skittles Now says, thanks for teaching the general public some basics about law. You're demystifying the legal process, will probably save some people who follow you from civil penalties or jail time in the future. Honestly, if I can do that, if I can spread the message of how to mitigate your legal liability, how to avoid criminal liability, and how to protect yourself from both of these situations, if I can do that to thousands of people through YouTube, then I have done more for Americans than I could ever do individually defending people and representing them in court. And that is something that I really do hope to achieve with all of this. Solo Beverly says, the wink means to go murder in Minecraft. Yes, only in Minecraft. Find those lava pits and shove them in Minecraft. Name Redacted says, as someone who has been sexually assaulted and chose not to pursue legal action, this all makes me sick. And totally just kidding. Exterminatus for the heretics. All glory for the emperor. Homestead says, Nick says, just don't. Tassia says, if anything, we would remove you as a coup to allow the rise of the beard in your place. Get wrecked, Nick. Oh, Ty may think he's a tough Texan, but I got these hands. I got these hands to defend the crown. Like Cuba Gooding Jr. in the original movie Gladiator, not the Ridley Scott Gladiator, the other one about boxing. Got these hands. These hands have provided for me my whole life. That's all I got left is these hands. So there you go. Hikari Blue says, oh shoot, they found out our murderous ways, guys. Blaine20 says, please discuss relevant definitions of sexual assault, sexual harassment, and describe which charges could result from pulling hair and whispering sexual threats. I subbed on New Project 2, by the way. Awesome. Thank you, Blaine20. Make sure to DM me the email address you used on Twitter. They're working on a Discord bot for New Project 2. Pimp shilling. If you don't like Patreon, or if you are thinking about subscribing to me, please subscribe on newproject2.com/Rekieta Law. The link is in the description. And that way it's Patreon, but way better for me, and will eventually be just as functional for everybody else. Like I said, once that Discord bot goes in, but there's no Patreon cut.
Whoa!
There's no Patreon cut, and there's no Patreon catch you next Tuesdays, and there's no Patreon cuckery, was what I was going to say. I don't know why there was a N in cunkery. No Patreon cuckery on New Project 2. Everything is transparent, and it is creator focused, and it's made by my very good friend, and I hope you'll consider supporting me there if that's something you're interested in. I'm almost up to $1,000 a month between the two of them, and the goal for that is a giant bottle of Ardbeg Ergodile. I'm saying that wrong, but yeah, I have to find a huge bottle of it, so that'll be fun once we break $1,000 a month. We're gonna do 5 more chats, and then we're gonna do Shane's Chairs tribute. Okay, so hang out with me for just a second here. Black Chibi-san says, how does it feel for us to be entering the Phoenix Wright dark age of the law, Nick? Fabricated evidence from open liars to ruin innocent people. It's actually terrifying. It's actually terrifying. I do not like it. It's one of the reasons I've been hitting this so hard. It's a passion of mine to make sure we follow the legal process and the constitutional protections that our country is built on. Scary Things Are Scary says, but can I call you master? I mean, if you want, I'm not in control of what you say. Mythos Irving says, Fooch, Chris Watts, let him burn in hell. Yeah. My statement on him is, may God have mercy on him, because I certainly wouldn't. Guami says, thank you for these streams. Due to work, this is the first one I've caught live. Well, welcome to it. Horatius Cockles says, Cockles says, Jim wants on, check your scouter. Zypher Warrior says, I thought the daddy no thing was from Mr. Deeds. No, it's from Tonka. It's from Tonka. That's where that comes from. Cerno says, I hope the murderer never sees the light of day. Me too. And I hope he's haunted by the ghosts of his crimes until he dies miserably. Devil Trigger DMC says, and not in Minecraft. The dark parts of humanity make me want to vomit. Me too, buddy. Sorry, I don't have any sympathy for that man. Not at all. More. She says aloud, since you can't hear her. Just know that she's not an apologist for that person. Morgan Loy says, Texas is a mandatory reporting state where everyone is a mandatory reporter. If they knew Vic was sexually involved with a minor and did not report, that is a crime. Could this come up at deposition? I think it could come up at deposition. I'm not familiar with how Texas mandated reporting actually works. I find it very hard to believe that Texas would impose a duty to report to the government of anything, and I find it very hard to believe that that would be constitutional if it were challenged. However, some of the people involved may actually be legitimate mandated reporters based on their other jobs. You know, volunteers at conventions, convention staff, maybe teachers, they may be daycare workers. They could be all sorts of different things in their daytime jobs and then participate at conventions. And if any of them failed to mandate a report, that could be very interesting for them. The Crow 751 says, if I told you I met Monica Rial and Brittany Karbowski today, would you believe me? Yeah, sure. I'd believe you. Hopefully you're their lawyer. Just kidding. And finally, for now, Mithrin Emmer says, any lawyer going with a Barney Fife approach to a defense deserves to lose. You always present alternatives just in case. Yes, so that's in reference to what we're going to talk about in a little bit, that it looks like, they're not, their legal strategy right now is relying on that Texas Civil Participation Act. Okay, so let me get to Shane's chair. Shane's chair is very, very important. Hold on. We have to have a brief tribute for it. Let me. Oh, I gotta. Hold on. I'm doing background things on one monitor. It gets a little cluttered here. So let's see if we can do. Yeah. Let's see if we can get this done. This is a very important public service video for Shane's chair. I'm gonna turn up my speakers a little bit so I hear it. And I hope that it doesn't interfere with the microphone. I don't think it will. Here we go. I hope you'll just take a moment of silence to watch this. It's 1 minute long. It's very, very important. Here we go.
Hi, I'm Sarah McLaughlin. Please say you'll be for innocent chair who's suffering.
I will.
It's your help. Just $18 a month. Rescue chairs from their abusers. Medical care. Shelter. Join online in the next 30 minutes and we'll send you the chair from the shelter. And this beautiful. This is your chance to say, I won't sit by. This beautiful chair suffers.
So there you go, guys. There you go. You know what? Shane's chair was a lesson to all of us. It was a lesson to all of us. I'm glad that there are people out there taking up the cause. I'm glad they're out there fighting the fight. I would encourage you to donate. I would encourage it. We can't let this happen to innocent chairs. Can't do it. We just can't. I mean, the photo that you see now is, of course, I contacted Witness Protection. I asked them to save this chair. I said it had information. I must have overspoken. In my haste to get it saved, I said it had information leading to the arrest of Hillary Clinton. I overplayed my hand, and the chair suffered for it. And I'll never live that down. Never live that down. So help me make it right. Help me make it right. You see the conditions. You see the horror that they're facing. It's not acceptable. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. All right. That said, let's get a couple more of these chats. We got to bring it back up again. And then we're going to hit the, after the chats, we're going to hit the possible defenses. We're going to hit the possible defenses for Funimation, Rooster Teeth, and the voice actors. And we're going to see what their case looks like. As best as I can figure at this point. What do we got? Oh, I need a little chaser here. All right. Here we go. Keck7Go. Keck7Go says, Nick, you are my writing daddy as much as you are my gay daddy. This makes you perfect for this question. How do I write a story that involves the main character in a same-sex relationship without it being dismissed or labeled SJW garbage? Also, hail lady. So that's for you. She says, what up, Keck? She said, what up, man, but she means Keck. She means a more formal. I mean, Keck is so much more formal than man. It's very simple. If the identity of the character is not thrust into the story as a plot or as a forced plot device. I mean, if the character is just gay, no one cares. No one cares. If the story hinges on the character being gay, based on it being gay, people do care. If the story hinges on a character being gay because of the events surrounding the character or the setting or something like that, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. The question is, does it make sense for this character to be gay? Does it distract from the story for this character to be gay? If you can say yes and no to those questions, you're absolutely fine. I really think the vast majority of people don't care what the orientation of a character is. What they care about is how that orientation is presented and its crucial nature to the story and if it's focused upon. Like, I'll give you a very good example. If you go read the book Before Night Falls, this is one of my go-to gay books. Before Night Falls, by a man named Reinaldo Arenas. He's a Cuban refugee, asylee in the United States. He died of AIDS from the ludicrous amount of sexual activity that he claims to have had over his life. Not all gay, not all human, because he's a weird guy. If you read that book, his sexuality and orientation is it's just part of the story. It's baked into it, and it's necessary that you understand who he is. If you watch the movie, you see the agenda coming through. You see the agenda coming through rather than the gayness being integral to the story and integrated into it. You see it being layered on top of its integration into the story, and you see it becoming a message about homosexuality, which the book is actually not at all a message about homosexuality. The book is about sexuality in general and exploring it under a repressive regime. So it's a very, very good book, very, very crappy movie. And I hope that helps explain that. But yeah. And Keck7Go follows up with, it's so funny how Vic is so anti-icky gays, and yet he narrated a gay erotica ebook. I wonder if he demanded changes, though, to get rid of the gay to be able to narrate it. Like, I bet he's one of those homophobes who is all for lesbians, but not for you gays. Actually, there's some pretty strong evidence that Vic is very much what many people would call an LA Christian, where he doesn't seem to have any problems with homosexuality at all. He works in an industry that is affirming of homosexuality, and he's worked in that industry for 20 years and spent the majority of that time in a town that is known for its, or in a state that is known for its support of homosexuality and other sexual orientation. So I really don't think Vic is anti-gay in any way. There's video of him defending gay people against Westboro Baptist style protesters and stuff like that. I think that's just a false narrative because he doesn't want to sign trash yaoi art. Crusader Saracen says, does the lower pay in Texas work out / is more acceptable because cost of living is much lower over there than here in California? No, it works out because in Texas, you just don't have to have it. That's it. That's the reason it works out. Cost of living is probably lower. I think it's the opposite way. Cost of living is lower because you don't have everybody working for unions. You don't have these ridiculously high minimum wages. You don't have sort of socialist ideas being incorporated into the system. I mean, you do, of course, to some extent in every state. Texas has less of that than California. But really, I mean, the answer as to why Texas has a lower cost of living is because Texas wants people here. Texas wants people here, and Texas wants people engaged in commerce because they don't get income tax. The tax is based on usage and commerce and toll roads. So that's why Texas wants to attract people to it. Hopefully they don't attract the wrong people and ruin the state. Crusader Saracen says, I'd say that animators or programmers in the video game industry are just as, if not much more deserving of royalties than the VAs anyway. And yeah, and I think, you know, in California, there probably is protections and unions for that as well. But it depends. It all depends. Siren Jag says, YouTube said the stream was starting at 1 a.m. Now I've missed the first 45 minutes in my own first super chat. I hope it was cringe inducing. It definitely was. I don't remember what it was, but we did cover it. So go back and watch the replay. TLJ Screwjob says, I think Monica or Jamie told someone, or just a general statement, that we, quote, don't deserve to see the evidence. So they don't want people to side with them. If you can prove he's guilty, then just show us. They say it's for legal reasons. Sure it is. Absolutely not. Of course it's not. For what legal reason? What legal reason? You've already slandered the man in public, or defamed him in public, or libeled him, depending on your public communications being either spoken or written. You have defamed the man in public. The evidence supporting the defamation being made public would be overtly more legal than holding that evidence away. That's the dumbest thing you can possibly say in a public defamation case where you are ruining a man's reputation over Twitter. The evidence would support your statement and make it truthful. Withholding the evidence makes it kind of look like you're lying a whole lot. And if you're lying a whole lot and hoping for that Matlock moment in court, it ain't coming. You don't get a Matlock moment in court. You don't get a Columbo moment. You don't get any of that. You get to disclose at the demand of the other party all of the evidence. And if you think it's held back for legal reasons or whatever nonsense you want to claim, if you refuse to disclose it, you lose it. You lose it. You don't get to come in court and go, ah, ha, ha, ha. We have this secret that we've been holding for 2 months. No, you dummies, get a lawyer. Get a lawyer. He'll tell you all this. I'm not lying to you. I actually believe in the process. And I want, you all think that I'm so, you think that I'm super pro Vic and that I'm super biased. I am biased towards Vic, but not for the reasons you think. I have absolutely no connection to the anime community. I haven't watched most of the anime that he's voiced. I haven't watched even a small percentage of the anime that he's voiced. My bias is because I want people to fight back against what look like false allegations. And if you won't provide the evidence, then of course I'm going to be biased against a guy whose name is being dragged through the dirt. That's only logical. How dare you think otherwise? S13 Illuminati says, I canceled my Funimation subscription yesterday. I let them know exactly why I was leaving in their unsub survey. I think they've probably gotten a lot of those. What? It's okay. They'll have to Google it. You'll have to Google Matlock. Let's see. Hugh Janus. Attaboy or girl. Nick, what do you think of the Chupa Mi Verga situation? I have no idea what that is. I have no idea. You'll have to DM me a link for me to follow that. X Varna X says, do you have any thoughts on the SCESA situation? My thoughts are this. I pulled up their most recent 990. It was for their 2016 tax return. That means that they filed it in 2017. That means that, let's see, 2018, they didn't seem to file it. 2019, of course, they have a couple months to file it. It seems like their fiscal year ends in June. That's when their filing would be. We'll have to see. I don't know. I'm very hesitant to dump on someone else's GoFundMe. People have said that they didn't file for 3 years, and that means that they're no longer a 501c3. That's not actually true. They did file in 2017 for 2016. I looked at that filing today. They're a small charity. And if they're doing what they claim to be doing, that's great. However, I'm going to reach out to some of my contacts in the charity world, in the philanthropy world, and see if I can get more detailed reports on what's going on with them. I do know, or I shouldn't say I know. I have seen an allegation that the Inspector General's office has looked into them and found out that they mismanaged approximately $2.3 million worth of funds. I haven't looked into it enough. I need more time. But at this point, I'm reserving my opinion. Like I said, I'm not going to go out there and say that people should be doing anything about a different GoFundMe. That's not how I operate. All right. Grunu says, yes, ritual murder is okay. Just like in South Park season 12, episode 2, when they try to kill Britney Spears. I'm convinced they're trying to do that to Vic. You know what? Ritual career sacrifice is very much a thing in 2019. And it's really disgusting because I think in many ways it's a more effective intimidation technique than actual murder. But that's just me. And the reason is simple, right? I'll compare this to modern politics. George Bush put people in Guantanamo Bay. George Bush put terrorists in Guantanamo Bay. Maybe some non-terrorists. It's up to your political opinion. I don't really care. George Bush puts people in Guantanamo Bay. Those people get sad Sarah McLachlan music. They get orange jumpsuits. They get to walk around with their torn up Korans. They get to play soccer in the fields of Guantanamo Bay. The fields of Guantanamo Bay should be a love story. A gay love story between two jihadis that in the nature of their confinement have found homosexual love. Keck, I just wrote your book for you. The Fields of Guantanamo Bay. Anyway, it leaves a person to be interviewed to tell the story. Obama just drone striked all of them with a smile on his face. We hit him with missiles. Yeah, we hit him with missiles. It's fine. Just fine. Smile on his face. They're dead. They're burnt to a crisp. There's ashes. You could go lay an orange jumpsuit over a pile of ashes. That might be fine. But it doesn't interview well on CNN, right? Notice that once Obama hit office, you stop seeing those sad stories about Guantanamo detainees. It's because he stopped detaining people and started missiling them to death, including American citizens. It's the same thing, except in reverse. You had hate groups in the past murdering people, just flat out killing them and hoping that the image of someone being lynched, hoping that the image of someone being dead would be intimidating. But what's much worse is a person who's been removed from the ability to feed themselves, had their careers and families destroyed, all of that, being able to tell you about it. Much, much more effective. I'd rather be poor than dead, personally, but it's much, much more effective to everybody else in the situation. They disseminate the message much better than dental records. We'll put it that way. All right. Couple more chats, and we'll start talking about defenses. Then we'll close out with the rest of the chats. And the whiskey is hitting me very, very nicely right now. It's like right in the groove, the whiskey groove. Okay. Yeah, well, that's why it's in the groove right now. But when we catch the plane, I'll still be hammered. I'm just kidding. I'm not flying the plane. What do I care? Yeah. What if I have to save the plane? I can do it. Okay, some phantom boy says, your channel slogan should be hippity hoppity, no soy on my property.
Yes, I've been waiting for you to catch that.
That is fantastic. Parochial Joe says, rip the chair. I tried to save it by offering it to Nurgle, but he couldn't handle all of Shane's farts. I mean, if Nurgle can't handle the gas, then no one can. Raz Grizz Reborn says, Nick, the person who was formerly of Channel Awesome, were they the same person who stirred up controversy with allegations about their time working under them? I don't know. I don't know enough about that lore. It's possible that they are. But it's also possible that that person might have been covering up for severe abuse from Jew Wario. Mythos Irving says, let's bring back crucifixions just for Chris Watts. Yes. I'm actually unironically for that. Just for him. Amused says, you should try Octomore from Berladich. Burlatic. I don't know how to pronounce that. Yeah. Oh, by the way, quick poll in chat. If I were to be able to offer you a unique bottle of whiskey for approximately $150 a month, would that be something someone was interested in? And we're talking high-grade whiskey, just as a preliminary idea. 1 for yes, 2 for no. I don't know how many whiskey heads are out there. We're talking high-grade Scottish imported whiskey at $150 a month, guaranteed 1 bottle of stuff you cannot buy in stores. This is just a feeler, something I'm potentially working on. Yeah, this is a feeler. The long and short is, if I were to do this program, I'd need to get something like 500 to 1,000 people committed to that, which is quite a few, and it would be a premium product. So I'm getting a lot of ones. So maybe there is interest for that, but I'm working with a potential partner in Scotland to bring some premium small batch whiskeys from very famous high profile distilleries, stuff that is too small for like one of their normal commercial runs, but can be purchased, bottled, and shipped directly from the distillery. So I guess stay tuned for that. Yes, it would be like a subscription or a club. I have to work out a lot of legalities on shipping, but it would be shipped to you and all of that stuff. So no promises or guarantees. It is something I think I would love to pursue, depending on if people are interested in that premium whiskey and able to make that commitment. So I'll keep you posted. I'll keep you posted on that. Shipping to New Zealand. I don't know if we can do that or not. It would probably be limited to the States, but here we go. I'll again, as I consult my legal team on how we work the logistics of this, as I consult with my potential supplier on this. Oh, okay. I'll have to read it later. As I consult everybody, I will be releasing more details. If it's something we can get commitments to enough to bring interest, then I will strongly consider doing it. I think it'd be great. Next, Yellow Flash 2 says Monica got too old for her ex-boyfriend Illich. That's an oopsie. Right? Illich was charged. Something like he was charged with abuse of a minor and then got out of it by marrying the minor, which is a little bit weird, but you know, I guess. Monica Rial did date him. You know what's interesting? There's some Funimation employee, and you guys are going to know more about this than me, I'm guessing. There's a Funimation employee who is actually literally convicted for all of the child porn on his computer. And it took a whole lot for Funimation to sever ties with him. Like, we're talking, this guy was actually fully convicted before they would dare sever ties with this guy. How ridiculous the difference is between this guy who's not only under criminal indictment, but eventually charged and convicted. Wait, criminal indictment is charged. Eventually convicted before Funimation cuts ties. And then Vic Mignogna, who's been just had some allegations against him that aren't even in the same league or sport or continent as what this guy was doing. And they're like, no, peace, get out. Scott Freeman, a registered offender, former Funimation employee. They did, as far as I can tell, nothing to the extent that they've done to Vic Mignogna. And this guy is a legit pervert who deserves, apparently, every moment of jail and every moment on the registry that he gets. for possessing child pornography. Something that is a huge no-no in the United States. Not even one. Not even one. Yeah, it's interesting, the hypocrisy coming out of Funimation, but maybe they'll explain it away, right, Flash? They'll explain it as, well, we've grown and learned from our previous experiences. Sure you have. There's nothing to do. Ron Toye. Oh, thank you, Ron. Y'all gonna regret making fun of me. Watch me unleash the full power of soy. Say goodbye to your precious Asian cartoons. Kikomen times 10. No, Ron, don't go Kikomen times 10. You'll run out of power too soon. Mythos Irvin says Shane's chair is in the arms of the angels. Bad Wolf says, hey, Nick, what's your thoughts on Angel's Envy? I still haven't tried it. Also, if you want to laugh, look up Operation Candy Crush that happened in Tennessee. Oh, no. Will I actually laugh at that? That sounds horrifying. And one more before we get back into the discussion about defenses. We've got a big chat from Mythos Irving. Thank you so much. It says, pedo don't fire, hugged and kissed, fire him. Yeah, that's a summary of apparently the corporate policy of Funimation is actual offender and child predator, don't fire that guy. But someone who hugged and gave a greeting kiss on the cheek at a convention, get him out. Get him out. Dangerous to everybody. Dangerous to everybody. All right. Oh, and finally, Mythos Irving again says, darn you, Shane, the chair didn't deserve your abuse. That's correct, Shane. The chair didn't deserve your abuse. Okay. Let's have a heart-to-heart about the defenses of the defendants. The defenses of the defendants. Now, I'm going to pull up the act because this is very important. Here is what I think. Here's what I think the defense, the other side, whatever you want to call it, is relying on. I can strongly suggest that Funimation thinks that this is their slam dunk. And I'm going to strongly suggest that this is a very bad play on their part. And I'm going to go ahead and talk about why. Okay. SM Scorix 89. I did not do your super chat, but I haven't missed it. I just haven't gotten there yet. There are many left. And if you hang out till the end, I will definitely do more. I will read all of them. I will do that, but I do want to get through the main points of the stream, and then we'll get back to the super chat. So bear with me for just a little bit. We're going to talk about Civil Practice and Remedies Code, Title 2, Subtitle B, Chapter 27, Section 27.001, et sec, which means and following, basically. All right? This is the Texas Civil Participation Act. This is the Anti-SLAPP Act. This is a one-shot kill for a lawsuit. If you win on a TCPA motion, you win the case. And not only do you win the case, the other party has to pay your fees. It's very effective. Donald Trump used it against Stormy Daniels, and that is the last time probably the first time and last time a prostitute had to pay the John $250,000 for their sexual encounter. It's terrible, really a shame that it came to this, but we had to do it. We had to do it because it was right. It was right to do it. All right, so here we go. This is going to get a little bit technical and a little bit boring. What is SLAPP? That's a good question. SLAPP is a strategic lawsuit against public participation. It is a lawsuit where so a SLAPP style lawsuit would be you are bringing a lawsuit to stop someone from a constitutionally protected right of participation in public discourse. So you're bringing a lawsuit to stifle someone's free speech, okay? Shockingly, free speech is not entirely relegated to government action. There is an underlying principle that people should be able to speak, and private parties can't use the legal system to impair that ability to speak, okay? That's a slap lawsuit. Now, an anti-slap motion or a TCPA motion in Texas says that this lawsuit is only existing to stifle my free speech. Therefore, it should be dismissed because I do have the ability to speak on this subject. And not only should it be dismissed, but I shouldn't have even been brought before the court in the first place. And therefore, they need to pay my fees to do it. They cannot use the auspice of the court to bring my speech down. All right. So this is heavily used in defamation cases. Because let's say someone's saying something you just don't like. You can't use a lawsuit to stop them from saying something that's unpleasant to you. And Ron Toye, my soy-filled sack of unmanliness, you also can't use the Minnesota Professional Responsibility Board to try and stop a lawyer from saying something that is just unpalatable to you, because that lawyer still has a First Amendment right to speak on matters, even if you don't like it, you little beta. Beta! So, I would be very cautious about filling out that little form that you're so fond of linking, Ron. And if you lie, that would be really a shame for you. That would be really a shame. So, that being said, let's get back to business. This is the Texas Civil Participation Act. We're not talking about silly lawyers in Minnesota drinking and spouting off on the internet and ruining people's day. That's not what we're talking about here. We are talking about, do these companies, Rooster Teeth, Funimation, let's talk about them first. Do they have a First Amendment right to talk about firing Vic Mignogna? Let me give you a hint. Probably not. That's just a preview of what's to come. I hope that's not a spoiler. Probably not. Okay? So here we go. Let's look at some important definitions in this chapter. I don't usually like to read statutes because the people who write statutes are horrific, sadistic monsters. But it's important here. Communication. This is the first definition. Communication includes the making or submitting of a statement or document in any form or medium, including oral, visual, written, audiovisual, or electronic. Okay, so we have to be very clear that this TCPA definitely protects speech that's online, Twitter speech, tweets, Facebook posts, videos that you make, all of it. It protects pretty much anything you can imagine as far as speech. So that is included. Very important to know that statements that Funimation made and Rooster Teeth made on their blogs and on their Facebook and on their Twitter, all of that is protected under the TCPA. It all falls under the same category. Now, exercise of the right of association. This is important. Means a communication between individuals who join together to collectively express, promote, pursue, or defend common interests. All right, so there's your right of association. Exercise of the right of free speech means a communication made in connection with a matter of public concern. A matter of public concern. We're going to get to what that means in a minute. Exercise of the right to petition means any of the following. Communication in or pertaining to Judicial proceeding, official proceeding like administrative, legislative proceeding, proceeding before an entity that requires by rule that public notice be given before proceedings of that entity. So like, administrative boards, local townships, school board meetings, stuff like that. Proceedings in or before a managing board of an educational or eleemosynary institution supported directly or indirectly from public revenue. Public school boards, PTAs, stuff like that. Proceeding of the governing body of any political subdivision of the state. Report of or debate and statements made in the proceeding described by subparagraphs above. Public meeting dealing with public purpose. Public, if you're not getting the point here, government. The right to petition is not your right to a change.org petition. It's your right to a government petition. Your right to petition your government for redress of grievances. This harkens back to constitutional language. That's the petition they're talking to. They're not talking about your right to get together and spurge out over whatever. Next, a communication in connection with an issue under consideration or review by legislative, executive, judicial, or other government body. Communication that is reasonably likely to encourage consideration or review by government, summary government. A communication reasonably likely to enlist government participation. Any other communication that falls within the protection of the right to petition government under the Constitution. Now, governmental proceeding means a proceeding in government. Let's just narrow it down to that. Legal action means a lawsuit. Or a petition, a legal petition, not a petition that you go around with signatures. Some summons or complaints are called petitions. A divorce matter is handled by petition versus a complaint, for example, because they want it to sound nicer. Matter of public concern. Okay, so this is important. This goes back to the exercise of the right of free speech is a matter of public concern. So matter of public concern is includes an issue related to health or safety of the public. Just add of the public behind all this stuff. Environmental, economic, or community well-being. The government, that's the public. A public official or public figure, a government employee. Not just a public figure like, Vin Diesel's a public figure. We're talking legal definitions here, not colloquial definitions. Or a good product or service in the marketplace. Official proceeding means any type of government proceeding before a public servant. Public servant is an elected, selected, appointed, employed, or otherwise designated official of the government. So there you go. That's the definitions that we have. This gets pretty important from here on. Purpose. The purpose of this chapter is to encourage and safeguard the constitutional rights of persons to petition, speak freely, associate freely, and otherwise participate in government to the maximum extent permitted by law. At the same time, protect the rights of a person to file meritorious lawsuits for demonstrable injury. Motion to dismiss. If a legal action is based on, relates to, or is in response to a party's exercise of the right to free speech, the right to petition, or right of association, that party may file a motion to dismiss the legal action. A motion to dismiss a legal action under this section must be filed not later than the 60th day, blah, 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 blah. Except as provided by section 27.006b, on the filing of a motion under this section, all discovery in the legal action is suspended until the court has ruled on the motion to dismiss. All right. So there needs to be a hearing, there needs to be a ruling, and then here's the evidence that can be allowed on discovery. In determining whether a legal action should be dismissed under this chapter, the court shall consider the pleadings and supporting and opposing affidavits stating the facts on which the liability or defense is based. On a motion by party or the court's own motion and on showing of good cause, the court may allow specified and limited discovery relevant to the motion. So, here's the deal. Let's say Funimation, let's say Rooster Teeth are relying on the TCPA to protect them in their statements about firing Vic Mignogna, or their VA's associated statements that bring them in under the auspices of either civil conspiracy or of agency liability. Vic's not in the government. The employment of a voice actor of English dubs of anime to a limited audience is not a matter of public concern. You may think, they may argue, and they will, because I would make this argument too if I were them. They will argue that the Twitter campaign to kick Vic, the hashtag kick Vic, which garnered like a whopping 700 likes or whatever, and creepy Han Leia's tweet about Vic, which garnered a couple thousand likes, makes this a matter of public concern. Well, listen, pumpkins, 10,000 people on Twitter is 0%. It's effectively 0% of the American populace. It is a rounding error on a census document. 10,000 people is nobody. It is not a matter of public concern. He is not a public figure in that respect. There is very little chance that a court would say that the participation of these parties rises to the level of public concern in the same way that Stormy Daniels openly confronting the President of the United States, when Stormy has millions of supporters, when her lawyer has almost 1 million supporters, when Trump has tens of millions of Twitter followers, that a 10,000 like tweet would have anywhere near public figure or public concern status. That is a very, very thin argument. And if that's what you're relying on, I tip my fedora to you. Best of luck, milady. Best of luck, milady. This is not automatically protected speech because Vic is not a government official. The only way they'll be able to argue this is their right of association. Now, what's interesting is if they try to argue their right of association, then that potentially puts them on the hook for civil conspiracy, because it would mean that they were associating with other people raising the same grievances. And even if they win on a regular defamation of character, there are other causes of action like business defamation that do not necessarily get dismissed in the same way as a defamation of character. But either way, they have problems with this argument. Very, very big problems with this argument. The real problem with this is no one asked why Vic Mignogna was let go. And in fact, Vic Mignogna, which they will very much argue that all of their voice actors are just contractors, they're not employees, they're not responsible for anything that they do, and they'll definitely argue that about Vic Mignogna. They'll definitely argue that about all of the other voice actors. No one needed to even know that he had been fired, because he's a contractor. They simply don't call him ever again. That's all they have to do, right? We're not entitled to know about their employment decisions. No one in the public needed to. It's not a matter of public concern. It's actually arguably very much a matter of private concern, and that will be here's a forecast. I'm guessing Beard, Harris, Bullock, and Hughes will make the argument this was only a matter of private concern because it potentially damages his reputation in a defamatory way that is actionable. So why would we say it's public when it's definitely private? It is absolutely private. Oh, and all of the very, very bright voice actors out there, thank you. Thank you for reminding all of us that we are not entitled to the evidence gathered in an investigation about an employment decision, that is private speech of the company, that there is no duty to the public to hear any of these details. Thank you so much for making it so clear that no one outside of Funimation should have ever heard anything about why he was fired. You guys have the biggest brains on the planet. I hope you're sitting in brain recliners. I hope galaxies are bursting into existence from every massive synapse firing. Thank you so much for going on record and saying over and over again to the public just how little right we have to hear all of this. Because I am sure that an enterprising attorney at Beard Harris Bullock and Hughes would never think to use your statements of how private this matter is and how no one should have access to this information against you when you release details about it to the public. I'm sure they would never think to bury you with your own words. But what am I? Just a YouTube lawyer. I have no idea. Maybe they don't know what they're doing, right? And remember, I've only been practicing for 3 years, have no experience in any of this. There's no possible way I could be right about any of this. You giant pile of dummies. You giant pile of dummies. You've been sitting there reading over and over about just how smart you are. You're not entitled to the evidence. You're not entitled to the accusations. That stays in Funimation. Only we get to know. Then why are your stupid mouths open every single day about it? Why would you keep talking about it? Maybe you should have lawyered up when I told you. You morons. Keep talking on Twitter. Don't follow my advice. Don't follow anyone's advice. It'll all end up so well for you. So, we know from Funimation's own employees that there is an absolute expectation of privacy. That there is an expectation of privacy between an employee's investigative results and the general public. They should never be informed about it. Therefore, your right to association, your right to petition, your right to free speech on public matters, not a public matter. Lots of evidence that none of the parties involved think this is a public matter. Good job. Your service is much appreciated. Oh my goodness. All right, let me get to some more chats. Oh, and I saw someone in the chat saying Shane just banned Vic for life. Whatever. Any convention that's still associating with Shane is operating, quote, at their own risk at this point. That man is a toxic pile of cancer. And I mean, best wishes if you like him. I found nothing redeeming about that person. Naruto Martin says, let's see, hold on. Let me make sure I can follow along over here. Naruto Martin says, you think someone with disability like memory issues and such can be an attorney like you? Any advice for my dreams on this in voice acting? Yeah, there are lots of attorneys with various disabilities. As far as memory issues, it really depends on what the scope of those memory issues are. The question is not whether or not you can remember things. The question is whether or not you can take effective notes to help you make arguments. But I would really consult attorneys in your area. See if you can shadow them. See if you can, I don't want to say intern with them if you're not in law school, because they're not going to take on an intern that's not in law school usually. But see if you can shadow them for a day or a week or something and see how those memory issues play out. Let's see. Any advice for my dreams on this and voice acting? Again, voice acting, same thing. It depends on the memory issues. If they're very short term, I don't know. I think voice acting always has a possibility because you're not on screen, you're not on camera, so you can be reading your lines. You don't have to memorize them as much. But that's not my call, right? I would honestly, I think if you reach out to professionals in either field, then you'll probably get some responses on them. I find that people are very, very open to talking about their professions if they're not giant a-holes. If you just ask. Tactical assault hug operator. I was just sitting. Thank you. I was just sitting there. My butt skin was already chafed. He just grunted as he backed up to me and sat on my face, rubbing his sweaty male butt on me. Oh, man. Not good. Scotty J says, just got the Horus Heresy bundle at your recommendation. Can't wait to start reading. Thanks, Nick. You're welcome. It's such a good ride. It's a good ride, buddy. Yeah, that's what she said. Good job. Thank you, Lady Rackets. How are you still awake? Matt Field says, men like you built this country. Well, I think men with bigger muscles built the country, but I'll take it. You're an amazing man, Nick. God bless you and your family. Happy birthday, Lady Rackets. Thank you very much. I do really appreciate the compliment. Means quite a bit to me. Thank you. Is Halizen says, I'd say give the chair a burial at sea, but Shane exposed it to enough moisture in his poor life. Rip Chair Chan. James Bay says, hey, Daddy, are you going to expand on the Covington kid now suing CNN as well as WAPO for $250 million? Seems like they're going after everyone. Yes, I really do want to do a follow-up. My live stream got derailed because I had Drexel there, and that document I was reading it couldn't have been the actual court document. It was such a mess. I do want to revisit that and give it a fair shake because I was not getting that vibe. Not at all. Scary Things Are Scary says, for the price of a cup of coffee, you can sponsor a chair in need. We cannot stay silent. We cannot close our eyes any longer. # treat the seat. Naruto Martin says, also accept my friend request on Facebook. Thank you for message. You're welcome. Synac8 says, Vic is not on the Broly's actors list on Amazon.com. As far as I can tell, now maybe he should be, but Amazon's actors list is only like 3 or 4 people. So maybe that's the reason. I don't know how to read that. I know on iTunes it had everybody else listed who is a major voice actor in the play or in the part. So, you know, it's hard to say. Mythos Irving says, Cuban refugee, oh my God, he's Scarface. Well, yeah, he's Scarface, except instead of shoving his nose in a pile of cocaine, he's shoving his nose in a pile of anuses. Liz Reptile says, did you see my DM on Twitter or tweet of the Twitter law degree? I will send it again in DMs so you can pull it up if you want. Yeah, is that the one where it signed your mom? That's fantastic. I loved that. Yellow Flash 2 says, LA is cartoonishly liberal. Yes, Tactical Assault Hug Operator says, Hedwig and the Angry Inch, good music, and never once blames me for all the troubles of humankind. Hessian says, Rooster Teeth operates out of Texas because they were started by Texans in a bedroom and grew rather organically. Nothing in their growth was planned. Listen, Rooster Teeth and Funimation, you can tell that nothing about any of them were planned. It's quite apparent that whoever is actually making practical decisions for these companies have no idea what they're doing. If they did, they wouldn't be in this mess. They could have shut this down. One, they could have never been in it. And then they could have shut this down weeks ago by properly contacting Vic's attorneys and hearing them out and making the right decisions. I mean, the fact that we're at this point where we're really talking about litigation going out very soon, and that Funimation hasn't retracted their statements. I mean, it's honestly mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing, their level of confidence. It shows me that the decision makers at Funimation either have no idea about the law which I think is probably the case, and then subsequently either aren't listening to their counsel or their counsel's incompetent. Now, Evan Stone does have some, like I said, I have nothing bad to say about Evan. He does have some memey decisions out there. He was sanctioned for what the court called impressive chutzpah, because the court apparently, has their tribal origins. But that was maybe a bad play on his use of the subpoena power. But what I want to say is that use of the subpoena power was also arguably within the auspice of zealous representation of his client. He's going after pirates, and he's trying to go after them in a way that hadn't been done before, and he stepped over the line. But I'm not going to use that decision to say that Evan Stone is incompetent. I don't think that's the case. I think he's probably a very competent guy with a level head on his shoulders. He's been an attorney for a long time. And that sanction, I think he could spin that correctly to a badge of honor rather than any sort of tarnish on his career, because he was representing his client in a way that no one really expected. So let me just suggest that if Evan Stone is competent as I say he is, or as I think he seems to be, and I've talked to someone who worked with Evan Stone on a case. I talked to someone, they said he was completely professional, very competent, and managed the case effectively. So I don't have negative things to say about him. My only conclusion is that he's probably giving good advice to Funimation management, and Funimation management is being ridiculous. That's my conclusion on that. But, I don't know. But you can tell very little about their business strategy is planned because it's hot garbage. Okay, next. Let's see. Cesario JPN says, don't know if you can answer. Is Rotten Tomatoes act of manipulating the review score for Captain Marvel by deleting reviews and curating others illegal? Probably not. Absolutely. They have the right to manage their website and curate the content under the Communications Decency Act, Section 230, just like everybody else. Currently, that is their right. Now, that said, it should damage their credibility, but not illegal. Someone asked me if there was a class action lawsuit against them. No, you're not paying them for making those reviews. You're not doing anything. Your use of their website is funded by ads. So no, you don't really have you don't have standing. You don't have a cause of action there that I can see. Joel Woolley says things, but what kind of things does he say? Well, excuse me. I don't know what you mean by that. Mega Vigoroth says, I also protect my friend's reputation by implying I have more dirt on them. Yeah, that's a very interesting tactic. Chris2 Hikari says, I used to be in law enforcement. Having been on both sides of the table and watching your channel and streams makes me appreciate lawyers and the legal system more than my initial involvement. Yeah, and I'm sure if I was on the other side, I would appreciate cops a little more than my current involvement. But that's just how it goes. We have an adversarial system in civil and criminal courts, and it just so happens that in criminal courts, it's adversarial against law enforcement. Mythos Irving says, I think Rial was just mad that Vic didn't want to pound her tuna. Oh, wow. But who would to don't pound crazy? Well, I mean, that was crudely stated, but I guess. Yellow Flash 2 says, you should watch Full Metal Alchemist, missing out. Now, Flash, DM me later. Should I watch FMA or FMA Brotherhood? I've heard Brotherhood is more loyal to the manga. So let me know which one to watch. I don't have a problem with it. I just haven't gotten around to it. Inedible Trout says, you're probably tired of answering this, but where to start with the 40K books? Go to humblebundle.com. You can get a whole mess of ebooks and audiobooks for $15. There is not a better deal for 40K than that. Start there. It's the beginning of the Horus Heresy. Starts with Horus Rising. Great book written by Dan Abnett, one of the better writers. I know some people don't like him or whatever, but really, like, writing quality, he's one of the better writers. That opening trilogy is really fantastic. Go watch it. Go read them. Go read them. Brotherhood. The chat is Brotherhood specifically, so, or almost entirely. So there you go. Finn Frog says, just one more thing. You said stop, and he stopped. I rest my case. Well, there you go. Jonathan Frank says, side quest, Manning got hit with contempt and jailed. Looking at covering. Yes, that is on my list. I just haven't had the time and resources to sit down and cover that, or sit down and research it enough, because I've been running around Amarillo, Texas for the past couple days. People claiming double jeopardy without understanding military courts versus civilian courts. Yeah, you never want to be under the, what is it? UCMJ. You don't want to be tried under the UCMJ. You always want to be in civilian courts. Just like all the people at Guantanamo. They want civilian courts too. Mythos Irving says, besides Monica's so old, her tuna has cobwebs growing in there. Well, that's gross. That's very gross. Rolana1 says, I heard in Hero Hayes' stream that Ron's trying to report you for misconduct with the bar. That very well could be the case. If he does, then I will know, because when you make a report to the Minnesota bar, you have to put your name and address and your identifying information on that form. You don't get to make these complaints anonymously. So whoever does go ahead and send those complaints, I will know exactly who they are. I will scour those complaints for lies or misrepresentations, and I will consider legal action against them as appropriate. Don't lie when you fill out a form like that, trying to ruin someone's career. I know some of you have problems with the idea of not lying while trying to ruin someone's career, but that's how it goes. Let's see. Joel Woolley. Nick Rekieta says Joel Woolley says things. There you go. Zero the Slayer says Brokeback Guantanamo. King KDI says Obama had a peace prize and a kill list. Democracy. Democracy and cuckery. Boag says, is a libel / slander lawsuit hard to win? It depends on the lawsuit, right? In this lawsuit, it's not one comment. It's repeated public statements over and over. We also have private statements. We have private messages from Chris Sabat telling people that Vic is quote unquote guilty of everything he's accused of. Chris, buddy, what on earth are you thinking? Sending a message to someone saying that Vic Mignogna is guilty of everything he's accused of. Why would you ever send that message out? Terrible, terrible plan. We have private messages. We have public messages. We'll see. We'll see how hard it is to win, I guess. Eternal Dragonoid says, I can save the plane. I can do it. Drunk Nick. Oh, yeah. I could do it drunk or sober. I could do it asleep or awake. We'll see. Finn Frog says, can you fly this plane and land it? I can fly anything and land it wherever you ask. The Waffle Nerd says, rip chair, cause of death, soy farts. Moist John says, I'd do a bottle a month club. Awesome. Thank you. We're gonna try that. Tactical Assault Hug Operator says whiskey or whiskey. The second one, the Scottish one, direct from major distilleries in Scotland that you've heard of. Cardew, Cragganmore, stuff like that. So as I get more information about what kind of bottling we can get, what kind of whiskeys we can get, I will definitely start to promote and put out the idea. But there's a lot of infrastructure that has to take place. So again, I'm in the very early stages of if I'm the right person to do this. Alfonso M6 says, yo, am I late? Yep. Lord Rap of Rap Mountain says, Nick should just open his own distillery. That would be great. Except I've no experience doing that. Bad Dragonite says, name the whiskey brand, press 1. That's a good name for the brand. Cash Brown says, I've got a vertical of Pappy that I'll sell for $3,000. I don't even know what that means. Amused says, Burke Ladich is pronounced Brook Laddie. Okay, there you go. Brook Laddie. Party Time 1000 says, I'll buy a bottle now. I don't have one now. Moderator Marzi says, please press F in the chat to pay respects to the chair. Hashtag chair lives matter. I say again, please press F in the chat to pay respects to the chair. You all right? Goodness. Verthica Frost Scale. Oh, I know that feeling. Says, speaking of imported whiskey, have you ever managed to have imported ice wine from Canada? Supposed to be a rather sweet wine made from frozen grapes. No, but I've had ice wine from Germany and ice wine from Minnesota. And I do love that wine is very sweet and delicious. Alfonso M6 says, I would support it, whether it's a fundraiser or something else. Of course, I can't drink until a few years. Well, hopefully we can kick it off before then. Mythos Irving says, pedo don't fire. Hugged and kissed, fire him. Yep, we read that one earlier. Alfonso M6 says, F. Fatal system error. Fatal 5 system error says, too much soy ruins Chinese food. That's my PSA for the day. Yes, that's true. Here's the thing about Chinese cooking. Asian cooking in general is great at isolating flavors. You've got isolated textures and flavors. They cook things at different times and then pull them out and mix them all in at the end when they do it right. And you have this mix of crunch, soft, you have salty, you have savory, you have sweet, and those flavors are not just blended together into one blah. They're actually spread out, they're distinct, and each bite can have a journey of flavors through them. If you just douse it in soy, all you've got is salt. All you've got is salt. So absolutely, you have to use soy sauce very sparingly. And if you are using it, I suggest or I would recommend putting other flavors in it. That's my snobby eater of the day. Talking. Wyatt Mann says, name distillery, quote, I won't report for harassment. That's the name of the distillery. That would be good. Mega Vigoroth says, Ron's going to go super soy and blue. Dex Terminax says, Shane's chair is like a Vietnam vet. It's seen some serious shift. Alfonso M6 says, well, I'm off to lurk. Later, buddy. Mythos Irving says, I'm surprised Trump didn't murder her with his car GTA style. Oh my goodness. Goru says, look, man, you said soy. I got to go. Later. I assume that's because you got to eat. We all got to eat. Brother got to eat. Keck7Go says, because we believe women, Lady Rackets, how homophobic, racist, misogynistic, and abusive is your husband? 0, she says. Also, I heard from the internet that you are the breadwinner of the family and are sponsoring Nick's alcoholic lifestyle. Can you confirm any of this?
No.
She cannot confirm. Do you want me to tell the chat what your profession is? What do you want to say it? What is your profession? She's a stay-at-home mom. That's direct from the lady.
I'm a stay-at-home mom and I homeschool my kids.
She's a stay-at-home mom and she homeschools her kids. So, I mean, I guess in the way of I pay her to homeschool our children, she's the breadwinner. I pay her in tattoos on her birthday. So there you go. There's that. Mythos Irving says, can't wait till you read my tuna comments. That happened a little bit ago, and I'm still thoroughly grossed out. Mythos Irving says, Donga needs super berries to fight Andy Tribe and Jim Tribe. Donga not coward, Jim man big bully. Fatal System Error says, hashtag Kick Vic needs to read some Ayn Rand. They might learn something. Yep. A lot of people can learn things from Ayn Rand. Steve Fernald says, based Rekieta. Thank you. Thank you. TLJ Screwjob donated and said, can someone please explain to me why Soye is saying, quote, we are willing to go to court and, quote, we relish the chance to go to court? If you were, you would have already taken him to court, not reverse. Seems like blustering at this point. It's I said earlier, it looks like kayfabe. It really does. Anyone who's willing to go to court and relishing the chance to do it is out of their minds. It's way too expensive. It's stressful. It's awful. So I don't even like going to court, even when I'm getting paid for it. Siren Jag says, use my term liberally that I just made up. Tip your fedora and say methought. Methought. Mythos Irving says, they are super smart. They have plus 100 to intelligence. Steve Fernald said, Nick's dropping base bombs again. Hashtag MAGA. Naruto Martin says, y'all listening. Hashtag pumpkins. Hashtag sweet cheeks. New shirts. There you go. Mythos Irving says, they should have been swallowed. I don't know what that is. Hopefully not the tuna mentioned earlier. The Texan83 says, have you considered trying out to be a VA? That evil laugh has to be useful for something other than mocking morons. No, I mean, yes, I've considered it in very fleeting considerations over the years. I thought being an actor or a voice actor might be fun, but I've never put serious consideration into it. I have no idea. Aiden Paladin. Oh, hey, Aiden, how are you? Would you say to Funimation, Omewamo Shindiru? Omewamo Shindiru. I don't know what I just said, but I assume it was dirty. Thank you for that. Is that Sarbamba? I can't necessarily read the Russian characters, but I'm guessing that's Sarbamba, which is a great reference. Thank you. Says big brain tweeters versus whiskey fueled lawyer. Nuke them, Nick. Love the ASMR, and it's pronounced Tanya. Tanya. Okay, thank you, Tanya. TLJ Screwjob. TLJ Screwjob says Monica, February 11th. There were multiple investigations with investigations with testimony, proof, evidence. Companies don't cut ties without those things. However, that information is classified top secret. I am one of dozens of men and women who participated. Stop harassing me. Let's see. Body Lee Photon Warrior says, at this point, it almost feels like the entire dub industry is self-harming. Don't poop where you eat. However, this goes down, people losing jobs. Mythos Irving says, Lady Rackets is still up because she wants her real gift from you, Nick. Well, the real gift is us getting on a plane in a couple hours and flying home. So, yes, I think that's true. TLJ Screwjob says, so Monica confirmed either the summer 2018 investigation with post-Broly investigation or Funny and Rooster Teeth separate investigations, or all of it. I mean, who knows? Who knows what she confirmed, because it's not public. It's very private, very classified, and we don't get access to it because it's not public. It's not public at all. Let's see. Soylent Goy says, do you have a nickname in high school? If so, what was it? Not really. People just called me Nick, or words I won't reproduce on stream because they're very profane. Tactical Assault Hug Operator says, have letters gone out? I cannot confirm nor deny letters going out. I am speculating. I've heard rumors that maybe some letters have popped out, but I don't know. I don't know who. I don't know what. I don't know where. I'll just suggest that the Texas Defamation Mitigation Act requires you to request retractions of statements to qualify for exemplary damages. And another step would be the prevention of evidence spoliation letter would likely be in there. And both of those letters are countdowns to lawsuits. So there you go. I'm sure my Japanese pronunciation is terrible. What did I say? Oh, okay. Nani. Your Japanese pronunciation's terrible. Bartimao 5 says, hi Nick, I got falsely accused in university. She didn't go to the authorities, but I lost some friends. For months I thought I'd be expelled / charged. It was really rough. Thank you for fighting the good fight. God bless you. I'm really sorry that happened to you, buddy. It's really terrible. So you know exactly what people like Vic is going through. You chill out. You drink some monkey shoulder and you try to talk for hours. Oh, that's what I said. So that's what I said in Japanese. You are already dead. Fantastic. Talonseer says, in the worst / best case scenario, what is the possibility of Rooster Teeth / Funny tanking from court damages? Also, you really need to practice saying chutzpah. Well, I don't. Why would I need to practice that? I never say that word unless I'm reading it from someone else. Best case scenario, worst case scenario, I don't know. It's possible. I don't know what their financials look like. It depends on how much Sony wants to prop them up. And Rooster Teeth's in a different boat, but I think Funimation is the most vulnerable of the two. And Sony's backing them up, so they might just We might not see Funimation tank, but we may see Funimation have a shuffling, we'll say. Always a possibility. Sage says, all hail Slanesh. There is no MGTOW. Incel capable of withstanding the Slaneshi temptations. Breasts for the breast god. Cocks for the cock throne. There you go. E. Malachi says, one question for you. Do you read Sutter Kane? Of course I read Sutter Kane. Who doesn't read Sutter Kane? James Spoon says, Humble Bundle 40K audio or print Nook first? You got to start with Horus Rising. There is a reading list for the order that you should read things on. It's either on Black Library or it's on Wikipedia or something, or the 40K Lexicanum wiki. Clarice Knox says, watch Full Metal Alchemist episodes 1 through 30, then start, or 1 through 13, then start Brotherhood. Okay, that's a good recommendation. TLJ Screwjob. 2 friends tried showing me Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood after saying how good it was. When I heard a clearly female voice coming out of Alphonse's character, a character I knew to be male, mouth, it broke my immersion so badly, I told my friends to stop the show, not saying it's not good. There you go. Tactical Assault Hug Operator. Improper editorial content. Not sure if that's how they word it in Texas, but it'll come up. Jay says, have you ever been sued or charged with a crime? Only like speeding tickets. But no, I've never been sued. I'm a good boy. Storm Knight MD says, soy sauce and miso are fermented, so they don't have the testosterone killer. Tofu, on the other hand. Dun dun dun. Texan83 says, higgity biggity boggity boop. Now he has to say it. I may be drunk. Wandering Wisp says, if Vic wins, what are the consequences for slanderers? It's money damages. Significant money damages. How high would the fines they have to pay be? Will there be possible jail time? No possible jail time. The fines would be not really fines. They would be damages paid to Vic, and they could be tens to hundreds of thousands of dollars based on how damaging their statements are and the amount of income that Vic would allege to have lost. Plus exemplary damages and other things like that. James Voorhees says, Jim wants on, check your AOL Messenger. I talked to Jim on ICQ already and told him he wasn't coming on tonight. Blaine20 says, thumbs up for homeschooler mom. Thumbs up. That's you. That's to you. Mythos Irving says, Lady Rackets has best job. I agree. And she does the best at it. That guy from that thing says, stop oppressing your wife and send your children to the government for state mandated programming. Yeah, why don't you go work a minimum wage job or something so we can pay for daycare and stuff like that? Gravy Donson says, homeschooled master race. Trivia aficionado says, so much respect, Lady Rackets. My mom homeschooled 4. Bad Dragonite says, just bought the Warhammer 40K bundle on your suggestion. Indiegogo, or not Indiegogo, Humble Bundle. You owe me. You owe me, baby. You owe me. Come talk to me. Looking forward to reading while drinking some Press One whiskey. That would be great. Mythos Irving says, their mom should have swallowed them instead of growing them. How did you not know that insult? I don't know lots of insults, I suppose. Bob the Troll King says, Mr. Rekieta, just want to say I appreciate your sense of humor and keep up the good work. Also, if you're interested in Vampire the Masquerade, let me know. Wait, are you talking about the original Vampire the Masquerade? I think I still have the CD for that. Or are you talking about Vampire the Masquerade, the whatchamacallit, the books, the RPG? I have the computer game somewhere buried in my office. I'll have to find it. Sergio Enriquez, thank you for donating. Mythos Irving says, your new nickname is Petulant Little Jerk, the cult leader. Sounds great. Angel Dine says, what is your opinion on Matt Ward and the baby carriers? Oh man, I have no idea. I have no idea what that's about. Jonathan Frank says, totally willing to discuss UCMJ with you. Yeah, DM me, buddy. That would be an interesting stream. I think talking about the differences between civil law and the UCMJ would be, or civilian law and the UCMJ would be really beneficial to people. Ron Elm 2000, since YouTube, know your meme. There you go. I'll I don't know. I can't pull this up, but I think I can maybe get it in the chat. Let's see. Okay, here it is in the chat. Hopefully you guys can follow that link. Chief Winkson tweet, no like lawman. Oh, this is from Goru. No like lawman, lawman big meanie, lawman hurt big brain feelings, big meanie get disbar. Chief Winkson tweet like wrestle wrestle. Rolana1 says, if they receive one of those letters you mentioned and destroy it, could that get them in trouble? It just further exposes them to liability. It'd be a stupid move. All Might 89 says, Soy better watch his mouth, or else he's going to witness the full power of Nick's ludicrous devil trigger. Some of the things you guys come up with just kill me. Iron Mater says, point at the camera and say, you're already served as smugly as possible. You're already served. And you know it. Hopefully that's what you're looking for. Ravelin1 says, Nick, you're awesome, and so are your rants. Thank you so much. Thanks for keeping us informed and for fighting the good fight. You're welcome. I will continue to do so. There are 2 more, and then I think, guys, we're going to wrap up this stream very soon. God of Plague says, I bet you can guess my favorite chaos god. That would be Nurgle, of course. Just want to thank all of the lawyers who have helped me over the years. They have been great. Yeah, we're not actually the worst people in the world. Some of us. A few of us. Just me. And everybody who's appeared on the Big Brain panel. Mythos Irving says, congrats on having a great wife and kids. I'm happy for you. Hashtag poop-faced lawyer. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for using my favorite hashtag ever. Thank you, Jamie Markey, for comparing black people's skin to human feces. That was just the best move you could have made. And you didn't pay for that at all. Socially. Good job. James Voorhees says San Dimas High School football rules, and TLJ Screwjob says for chat and Nick, it was the dub of Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. That was the problem. I heard Aaron Dismuke, I guess that's pronounced right, who is Oscar in Ruby, coincidentally, as Al in 03 FMA, and hearing a clearly female voice in Brotherhood was just that weird to me. Well, there you go, guys. I did. Justice chats were read the same as in the order that I got them with YouTube chats. So one of theirs, who was it? I don't think so. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Someone just asked, gosh, I don't like this setup as much. Someone asked, the Texan 83 says, holy poop, do you think Ty would like a model of the Starship Yamato? I mean, I think Ty would probably love that. If I had to guess. Where is, oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. Let me see if I can, I'm trying to find this. I did, what, Clay's? I think Clay's lying. Clay, are you lying? Okay, guys, if I, scary things are scary, and Clay, if you tag me, I will read them. I can't go back and find them very easily, because I'm on one screen and I can't find them. So tag me, I'll read them real quick. In the meanwhile, Lightened One says, where can I find the dramatic reading of the lawsuit? It never happened. It needs to, but it's never happened. That's something that needs to happen. Keon and I were trying to get some of the lawyers from the lawsuit to actually participate in that dramatic reading. Maybe we can resurrect that effort sometime. I think it would be a fun revisit, maybe on an anniversary or something of the dismissal, which would be coming up in May. Maybe I'll talk to him and see what we can put together. Landon Mack and James says, Weeb stream, Nick Daddy. Yes, buddy, coming up soon. We are also, I'm working on a Chad Dad chat with Larry Blydner and Doug Tenaple. If you're new to the channel, you may not have seen a Chad Dad chat. They are very fun. Doug, Larry, and I, and maybe a special guest, give dad and man advice to anyone willing to listen to some stodgy old internet dads.
Clay did.
I did see that. He said what? Oh, he said So Clay says Rekieta Law saw my peen once. He was clearly jelly about it. Sure, buddy. Sure, buddy.
That was a lot.
All right. Did you see the one from Scary Things Are Scary? Oh, here we go. Scary Things Are Scary says, "Hail the law goddess, or our supreme leader. Also, happy birthday." Thank you. Thank you. I feel like I read that one actually, but it would have been a long time ago. So if I didn't, I humbly apologize. All right, guys. Thank you. Thank you so much. The Texan 83 says, would it compromise the case if I had one sent to his office with a thanks from Vic fans? No, not in any way would that compromise the case. You are welcome to send. You're not a party to the lawsuit. If you're not a party to the lawsuit in any way, but if you're just someone who appreciates what Ty is doing, you can. If you really want to ask and make sure it wouldn't compromise anything, I would recommend going through their website and sending an email just asking them about it, because they're going to be the experts on Texas ethics laws. I can see no problem with that type of gift from someone who's not involved in litigation in any way, but check with them first. And if you don't want Ty to read it, contact one of the lawyers who is not Ty. I would recommend Carrie. She's the ethics guru of the office, as far as I understand. And she would be a great person to ask that question if you want to keep it a surprise. Okay, Gravy Donson says this chat has the best taste in classic anime. I think this chat is the best, but that's me. And people hearing me say that probably think I'm sucking up, but I'm not. I'm not. Lady Rackets agrees. We have the best chat fam. So you guys are the chat fam. Finally, Mythos Irving says, I may be gross, but I treat your wife not rudely. That is correct. That is correct. And gross humor is okay. I'm just willing to say it's gross. I'm fine with it. Landon Magan James says, your package is on the way, buddy. I thought it was right here. If you find time. Yeah, I'm on the way home tonight. This morning. So I'll see it. Thank you guys for hanging out. Thank you for participating. Thank you for your support this week. Whoops. Sorry, Boomer. Thank you for your support this weekend. Thank you for continuing to watch the channel. Big stuff coming up this week. I will probably be talking to Coach Red Pill about his book, Wilshire Boulevard. At some point this week, we'll be talking about Chelsea Manning, Chelsea the was a Manning or whatever. And we'll be talking about all sorts of other stuff. More Vic, more Todd Habercorn. The topics are endless. This train doesn't stop, apparently. And I don't mean me. I mean legal issues that are worth commentary and ridicule. So thank you all for watching. Y'all have a great night. And don't forget, daylight savings, at least in my time zone, happens in 14 minutes. So if you're in not 14 minutes, 24 minutes. Math is good. 24 minutes. So don't forget to set your clocks ahead an hour if you're in an accursed time zone. And we'll see what happens soon. Y'all have a good night. Peace. Peace.